Here we are live from Anfield as England have clinched the Baskerville Shield. Excitement abounds as they will lift the trophy next week. Who will lift that we don't know. Sean Lockham might be back, he might not be. Phil, what a weekend for International Rugby League.
I think we've seen how the game can grow to the level that we'd like to see it. I'm not sure it's the club game. I know there's a lot of talk about loop fixtures and starting in February and finishing in October, and Tuesday will see the launch of the 2019 ones. But I think what we've seen, particularly here today, in front of a big audience, not just in the ground. I think the 26,000 made a lot of noise, and we'll probably see that more than that, but the kind of performance that is going to demand news value. So I think you'll hear and see the highlights of this game, and particularly the England performance on the national news and mentioned on the national radio. And I think only really this sort of game can do that for the sport at the moment. And it's been a wonderful weekend. International Rugby League, the pinnacle of the sport, has been put right back at the front of the shop window. Big meeting in York of the International Federation. They've got a congress this week. They need to nail down more of these fixtures, because I think what we've seen today for the sport is absolutely massive. And we can talk about the England performance, but I think first and foremost the sport has benefited from this afternoon.
So we've seen England obviously win today. Ireland and France, that was an intriguing game yesterday, and obviously Scotland, well, they started well, then Wales just blew them apart in the second half. And
don't forget as well that Papua New Guinea defeated the England Knights. Correct. In the second match of their series. So I think what we've had is a focus from Friday to Sunday of International Rugby League, front and centre. I think this England performance is of outstanding merit, because I think any team at this level in Tier 1 nations that can come back from 8 points behind and almost be out of the game in the first half. It was some extraordinary defence that kept them in it, and then to look the stronger team late on, and to have dismantled the New Zealand side to the point where at the end that they had nothing left to give, and some individual performances that were right up there in the top drawer. I mean, I've not seen a winger's performance as good as that from Tommy Makinson this afternoon for a very, very long time. And obviously the highlights package will be the 3 tries that he scored, but he saved at least an equal number in the first half. He was confident under the high ball, and I think he's the perfect example of a player that Wayne Bennett has identified as a talent and given him a confidence that has seen him soar. He'll be named as one of the nominees for the Golden Boot this evening, and on the back of what we saw today, deservedly so. But there's a resilience now about this England team, and a lot of people, some quite close to us, have criticised the appointment of Wayne Bennett and what he brings to the team. And I think what we saw today was he works with people, and over the last 2 years he's realised that what was lacking for England was just that last 5 minutes in games, that partly self-belief, partly fitness, partly intensity. But he's brought all of that. And this now looks like a team that, if there was a World Cup final next week, could actually win it.
Well, we are sat where Tommy Makinson and Wayne Bennett were sat not too long ago. The big question is, of course, we can do it against the Kiwis. We seem to be very good at that. Can we do it against the Aussies? And when will we get the opportunity to?
Well, that's more, wouldn't it be nice to see, would be the answer to that. I think we were talking about that just when this game finished, that we've waited 2 years for England to play at home, and that's too long, and that's one of the factors behind why crowds do or don't turn up. There's a danger now with the fixture list as it currently stands that we won't be playing here for another 2 years. And I get that we need to bring back the Lions. I'm not sure whether it's essential we bring them back in 2019 or 2020, because we've waited so long on the back of the excitement that we've seen and felt in the stadium. I now actually perhaps might go with the plan of the NRL, which was to bring the Kangaroos here next year and the Lions to go over to the Southern Hemisphere in 2020 and the World Cup then to be here in 2021. I think the crowd here would really respond on the back of winning a series against New Zealand, to have a 3-match series against Australia over here next autumn.
Sam wants to see Wayne Bennett take us through to the next World Cup, if his contract doesn't already. I can't remember when his contract was.
It ends at the end of 2019, but I think the work that he's done and the fruits of that work that we're now seeing, I've got a feeling that maybe we should look at him. He seems so invigorated by this group of England players that they are producing for him, and it doesn't really matter. We criticised obviously John Bateman being at centre, but what he's given us a group of players that suddenly know how to win at international level, whichever position they play in. We've now got a bigger core of players to choose from. The world rankings will come out probably in the middle of December, and it'd be touch and go between England and New Zealand for who is number 2, but I don't think there's a cigarette paper at the moment between them and Australia, and I want to see England play Tonga again. I think we can't be allowed to forget that magical occasion in the World Cup where...
No, we're still on, just not my phone. Apologies, listeners.
Where we only just beat them in the semi-final. They'll want a rematch. I want to see a rematch. I just want to see more international rugby. And one thing we should say is you'll be able to see a video on here soon with an interview with Jermaine McGillvary, and he echoes the sentiment. We didn't prompt him to say it, but this is a guy who gets paid by his club but wants more international rugby league, wants more occasions like this, loves the atmosphere, loves playing in stadiums like this, loves to test himself against the best in the world, and would sacrifice domestic games to play more internationals, and here to that.
If the X Factor can have technical issues, then I think we can as well when we're coming live from my mobile phone that I'm holding.
Yeah, it's your Jurgen Klopp, aren't you?
Well, yeah, we are in the inner sanctum at Anfield where Jurgen does all his hilarious asides to the press after Liverpool no doubt win their matches here at Anfield. And this was a great venue to come to because it feels like a proper big stadium where we never come to. England have never played here before, and here we are. We've won a test match, we've won a series, the 26,000 people enjoyed it, but more importantly, plenty of people on social media have also enjoyed it because they got to see it on television, free-to-air television.
And the quality of the game was such that it not only was captivating viewing for a television audience, but it enraptured the crowd in the stadium. The atmosphere was great all the way through, but that last 20 minutes was fantastic. Everybody in here bought into the quality of the game, the comeback from England, the skill and dexterity of people like Tommy Makinson to finish his tries. And it was a wonderful occasion, and 26,000 is a good attendance historically against New Zealand. I think there's only Bolton in 1998 that's beaten it, going right back to 1951. We shouldn't apologise for that, and the aim should always be to have 50,000 here rather than 26,000. But what I would say is it will have looked and sounded great. So if you've got a chance to go next week to Elland Road, fake these guys for winning the series, go. It'll be an emotional occasion anyway because it's Armistice Day and the centenary commemoration of the falling of the First World War, and that will be reflected in the game. I think also it's important to show the rest of the world that we care about rugby league, and I get that there are some very good reasons why people perhaps haven't gone to this series. The season's incredibly long, there's a lot of financial demands now on spectators, but I think we can attract new sponsors to this sport through the window of international rugby league, and you can do it through the quality of events like today. Part of that, the majority of that is on the field, but part of it also is the atmosphere created off the field, and I think we all have a part to play in that, and it's been so good here today. I would encourage you to go next week if you can.
And we've seen from the Olympics and we've seen from the Commonwealth Games in the past that if you attach a team sport to England, or England to a team sport rather, and I know people might not want to hear this, but yes, we're a bigger sport at a club level than say netball or hockey or whatever, but you watch the Olympics, you watch the Commonwealth Games, England winning the netball, Great Britain winning the hockey, got massive media coverage, and that's what we need. For the best will in the world, as much as we enjoyed Wigan winning the grand final or Leeds doing the treble a few years ago, you more than I did.
I did quite enjoy it.
That doesn't hit with people in whatever Middle England is or wherever, because they don't, who cares? I know football people from all over the world support Liverpool or whatever, but if you are English and you see England on TV, you might stay and watch.
Well, I think
if you're Scottish or you're Irish or you're Welsh after the weekend.
I think one of the other things that we've also said is that, and this isn't new, that we need to build up superstars that are recognisable to the general sporting public. Well, if you can't take Tommy Makinson's contribution today and make him a better known name tomorrow than he was yesterday, then we're not doing our job properly. But the only reason people will want to know more about Tommy Makinson is because of what he's done on the international stage. He's been brilliant for St Helens this year. But score a hat-trick against New Zealand at Anfield and suddenly you are far more newsworthy. So I think Elliot Whitehead, John Bateman, two of the best second rows in the world at the moment. People that we should be immensely proud of. So, you know, I'm a big fan of just the international game driving the rest of the sport. I think the players are seeing that as well. I think Wayne Bennett's emphasised that. He was very forthright about, I hope the International Federation get this right this week when they're discussing the fixture calendar. Well, let's hope they do, because international dimension to our sport makes us so much bigger overall, and the quality of the game that we've seen today is higher than anything we see in Super League on a week-to-week basis, and I've absolutely loved it, and we should all celebrate it.
Don't stay up late looking for quotes from the Kiwis, because I don't think any of them have stopped to speak to the press after their defeat today. But they played their part in the game, and they had so much pressure in that first half, so much territory, and put England on the back foot, as Wayne Bennett mentioned in the press conference. England in the first half, not very good, but just weren't able for some reason to take the game by the scruff of his neck. I thought when they went to try in front in the second half, when they went 8 points in front, I thought this is a concern now. But for some reason, Tompkins kicks the ball in the air. He gets hit high late. I don't know who it was, because up in the radio gantry here at Anfield, they looked like Sabutio rugby players, so I wasn't really sure which player it was. But that started some kind of schmozzle with John Bateman getting involved. Everyone missed the fact that England got the ball back and could have scored a try. But that actually seemed to get England going again, the fact that they were in a battle and got on the front.
I mean, quite rightly, we focused on England and the star performers, but Dallin Watine-Zelezniak was as good as anybody on the pitch today. Absolutely a joy to watch. The try that he set up for Mamalo in the corner, where he sized up the options while still going at full speed and drew in three people and got the ball out. I mean, and the try he scored himself, you know, just on Nicarima Schultz to get on the outside of Tompkins. Absolutely brilliant. You know, he's only, I think 23, 24, so he's got a massive future ahead of him, and we want to see people like him playing on our pitches, and it's brilliant that Wigan have announced that the World Club Challenge is coming to the DW Stadium next February. I'm already looking forward to that game on the basis of the fact that I want to see Wigan beat a team from the NRL, and I want to see some of those players that play for the Roosters over here in our back garden. We have to support stuff like that. And it's an honour and a joy to have the Kiwis over here, and I think in their hooker, Brandon Smith, they've got another star of the future.
Well, I think we're all looking forward to it. We'll all end up going to Wigan on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock. It'll be an exciting game. I don't think there's much else to say about this, was it? Darryl Clark, rib injury, I think.
Yes, he won't play next week. Unlikely that Sean O'Loughlin will play next week, because I don't think his torn calf is going to have cleared up by then. So James Graham will get to lift the Baskerville Trophy at Elland Road next week, and hopefully everybody will be there to see him.
But don't expect to see many other changes, because test jumpers,
and he's right,
they're not like confetti. It's not like the England football team where they just give them out to anyone. Wayne Rooney's getting a bit of a testimonial. He's been announced in the England squad to play the USA. To which, just because he's got loads of goals, I floated out on Twitter earlier that we should give Gary a cap next week. Get him to 50 so he can get his golden cap.
What play the Cooper Cronk sort of a role? He doesn't actually touch the ball, but stands behind everybody.
Come on, like
tells them
Milner
what
did
to
today.
do.
Come on for 5 minutes and go off. Get another cap.
Yes, come on, fumble the ball and go off.
What was the attendance today, Roy?
26,234.
Something like that, so that was good. So that means that everyone's hard working this week has got an extra 1,000 people on the door. Well done, everybody.
Well done.
We'll be back tomorrow night from 6. Special guest in the studio, because Mark Wilson's doing football. He's off to watch Huddersfield Town's relegation tour continue in the Premier League. So he won't be here. We'll be there. Scroy will be there.
We do have a special guest, though, don't we?
We do have a special guest. So tune in at 6 to find out who it is, if we can fit him into the camera, because he's tall. There's a clue for you. Thomas asked his was it? No, he wasn't here today.
No, he's texted that.
Yeah,
he enjoyed it.
He is at Elland Road next week because he's in Leeds and he's the king of Belle Isle, so he will be there. Why are we whispering? Because people are doing work here, Steve. We're not like other media organisations who take over these things.
There's proper journalists in the room, filing copy.
Yeah, so we're whispering. What's this? Colin says, it's time people, even in our own media, stopped talking the game down at every chance, not just the media but fans too. We've been accused of being negative.
I think you have to have the ability to ask questions, but I think you also need to extol the positives. Today has been one. I think the question that needs to be asked on the back of today, without it being taken in negative in any way whatsoever, is can we have some more of this, and how are we going to get more of this? So I think asking questions is vital. The sport being the best it can be. Today it was brilliant and we want more of it.
I will say something tomorrow on the show that people perceive perhaps as negative, but it actually is a positive, and actually it's been borne out by something said by one of the players today. But we'll get that up on social media shortly. Join us tomorrow from 6. Keep on your eyes on Facebook and Twitter for interviews after the game. We're going to go and hide and see if there's any of those sandwiches left, because it's actually nice here at Anfield and not like at Hull last week. And I'm going to get some vertigo tablets, having been right up to the top of this fantastic stadium, the home of Liverpool FC, the home of Jurgen Klopp, and we will be at the home of Leeds United next week. What ghosts will we find in the cupboards there? We shall find out next week. But thanks for joining us here live from Anfield. My hand's hurting, so I'm going to press stop. Thank you very much for watching.